So welcome everyone back to the class on MMM. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Tarun. So already there was a meeting yesterday with HODs and the principal. They have declared like you will be having the first internals, hopefully from May 2nd to 4th. That will be online. So further information will be shared with you people. Okay, so be keeping on prepared with the chapters which has been done until now. Keep yourself updated. I'll let you know the portions for the first internals, which would be between May 2nd to 4th for the 3 days. Uh, that's the thing what I wanted to tell you. And hopefully the two practical sessions were dealt with Nitya madam, right? In the last week. Two practical sessions were being taken hopefully on the load cell and pressure cell, right? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so in this week, the other two experiments on thermocouple and the strain gauges will be dealt because those were the pending experiments which was supposed to be done. So depending upon the time availability, myself, yeah, Sundaresh sir, out of V2, one will be taking care of your remaining two practical sessions, which has to be completed by this week. After this, coming back to our syllabus, so we were dealing with the terminating and modifying devices related to our transducers, right? So in order, you know now what you mean by transducers. We dealt with different type of classification of the transducers, right, from mechanical, electrical, electronic transducers. And later, you know now the transducers. I explained you the stages also, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, where stage 1 transducers help you to sense, stage 2 transducers help you to modify, and stage 3 transducers help you to convert into an readable form. So it could either record, it could either display, or it could either transmit the output signal to other devices as per the requirement. So in order to do this all activities, some circuitry system is essential. So that's what we were dealing up in the last class related to simple circuitry system. So that was one option. So the next is related to the ballast circuit, what you have to understand. So related to that, we'll be starting up with our class. Okay, so this is the next circuit, what you have to understand. So previously we dealt with simple current sensitive circuit for converting the sensed signal into the required output. So you have to use some modifying as well as the terminating devices. So we are now focusing on the modifying devices. So later we have terminating devices also, so that we will take care separately. So related to that, in the last session, we dealt about input circuitry based on our Ohm's law, how we determine the input signal, output signal, and finally the variation, what you're getting in the resistance with respect to the input signal, with respect to the percentage age factor also we dealt about. So how the variation in the current come across in case of using input circuitry for any electrical devices. Similarly, now we have to use, I think some of you have not muted your mic. Kindly mute the mic, please. Those who haven't written your name and USN, kindly do type in the chat room. So next is the ballast circuit. So what do you mean by ballast circuit? It is almost similar to that of the input circuitry system, what we studied in the previous thing. Wow, but you have a small variation. So what is that? So a ballast circuit is only a simple variation of the current sensitive circuit. In this case, we will be using an voltage sensitive device in parallel to that of the transducer. So in the previous circuit, you had a passive resistance and you had a resistance transducer with respect to the input voltage. Whereas in case of ballast circuit, you will be using an voltage sensitive device along with that of the resistance type transducer. So this is the difference with respect to the input circuitry and the ballast circuit system. So this one, the voltage input signal data, is the extra part what you find it out in case of ballast circuit. Okay. Since you have an voltage sensitive device, we can call this also as voltage sensitive circuit. So if they ask you to explain voltage sensitive circuit instead of ballast circuit, you should not get confused. Both are one and the same. So here in this ballast circuit, we will be having an ballast resistor in place. In case of input circuitry system, we had a passive resistance here, and we have explained you what you mean by passive transducers and active transducers. So based on that, we had passive transducers in simple circuitry, and in case of ballast circuit, you will be having the ballast resistance. So that is indicated by the word letter R suffix B. Okay, so it is the resistance of measuring the circuit excluding the transducer. So when you provide an input voltage, right, for the flow of the current there will be some resistance. So that is being used by the ballast resistance over here. And this ballast resistance will not be the same with respect to the transducer resistance. It is the resistance offered in the circuit excluding the resistance transducer. So that thing you have to keep in mind, both will not be added. Okay, so it is excluding the resistance of the transducer. So if in case in the absence of the ballast resistor, what happens? The voltage indicator will always record the full source of input voltage which is being received. So if you don't have the ballast resistance, the entire input signal, the input voltage will be read, okay, and recorded. And as a result, always you have to have some resistance in the circuit, and hence we are using the ballast resistance over here. So for analyzing the ballast circuit, we can always assume that the voltage indicator has an infinite resistance for the flow of any current. So the voltage detective device what you have should be having infinite resistance for the flow of current. So you can assume 100% resistance for the flow of current in the circuit, or else it will be of no use using the circuitry system of ballast in nature. And as a result, always you use an voltage sensitive device, keeping in mind that it will show 100% resistivity for the flow of electric current. Okay, so they will be having the option to transmit the electric current through the path, because in this way you will be having an 100% assumption of resistance for the flow of electrical current. So the resistance offered for the input voltage will be measured by the ballast resistance only. Here we assume that it shows 100% resistance for the flow of current, so that the current can directly be transmitted through the resistance transducer, and the output voltage will be sensed by the voltage indicator to sense the output voltage. So this is how it works, keeping in mind that this voltage sensitive device will be showing resistance 100% for the flow of electrical current. So this is about how an ballast circuit works. Only the difference here from the previous circuit is you have an voltage sensitive device to sense the output. So as per our Ohm's law, everyone know. So based on the Ohm's law, you can determine the output current, where EI will be the input voltage upon R suffix B will be the resistance, ballast resistance. K is the percentage factor what we explained already in input circuitry system, which varies from 0 to 10, and RT is the resistance of the transducer which is in the circuit, this one. So by this equation, you can determine the output current which is passing through the ballast circuit. Okay, so this is, and further, the output voltage could be determined by the equation input current into the percentage factor, which is the constant, into the resistance of the transducer. Okay, so this is how you have to replace. So after you get the value for I naught, you can write the value of I naught here. So it will be equal to I naught K times of RT, that will be equal to this value. So later, after getting E naught and EI, from this equation you can get EI, right? So after getting the equation EI, after you replace E naught, then you will take the ratio E naught upon EI. After doing the simplification, you get reduced with the variation of the input and the output signal as equal to K times of RT upon RB. So the variation of the output to input signal always varies with respect to the resistance offered by the transducer and the resistance offered by the ballast circuit multiplied with respect to the percentage factor, which is a constant value which varies from 0 to 10. Okay, so based, once you get the value for the variation from output to input voltage and variation in the resistance, transducer resistance to the ballast resistance, you can try to plot the graph. Okay, so always when you plot the graph, it shows that the variation in the percentage of supply of the input result will show a great change in the output, but the same will not be shown in case of change in the value of K. The value of K changes very drastically with the variation of 0.5, 1, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4 until 10 you can start plotting the graph. But for the small variation in the input, you can get a drastic change in the output. So that's what the graph speaks you. So here you can see the ratio of the output to input voltage is plotted along the percentage factor variation. So the variation is very less, 0.5 to 1, 1 to 2.2, 2 to 2.5. The way there is a slight increase and it is not linearly. Okay, so that thing you have to understand. So this is the input output relationship for the ballast circuit. Previously you could see it was in a different trend. So now, but here the value of K was increasing little bit more, 1, 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 10 like this. So here there is a small variation in the K value due to the input of the voltage sensitive device where the current will be assumed to show resistance 100%, and there you had a passive resistance and you have an ballast resistance over here. So due to this variation, this is how you get an trend in input output relationship for an ballast circuit. So these are the two circuits mainly used in order to convert the received input signal, modify it and get transmitted to the terminating device. So in order to transmit, you need some circuitry system. So what we dealt. So first one is simple current sensitive circuit for modifying and terminating devices. Similarly, the ballast circuit for modifying and terminating devices we dealt up, and how the nature of the graph will be for both the circuits. Then you should understand what do you mean by electronic amplifiers. So the name itself suggests amplifiers. It helps in enhancing the signal what you need basically. So here related to our transducers, electronic amplifiers are used to provide a gain in the voltage, a gain in the current and transformation of the impedance to the required device. Okay, so in most transducers, electric voltage what you receive in the output will be at a very lower level. So in order to enhance it, you should be having some enhancement device. So here we will be using a voltage amplifier, so which enhances the voltage value. Okay, so whenever you need an enhancement in the output voltage level, so you will be going on by the use of electronic amplifiers. So in order to enhance the voltage level at the output, we will use the voltage amplifier. And also sometimes the input signal may be used to drive a recorder or some. Sorry, it got disabled. So we were dealing with the electronic amplifiers, right? So I were telling you amplifiers are basically used to enhance the desired output signal. So it could be voltage or it could be power, yeah, increase in the current gain or transformation of impedance. So we were explaining usually in case of transducers at the output the voltage level will be low. So in order to enhance it we will be using an voltage. Welcome back. So enhance, it could be used either to enhance the voltage or the power, and also sometimes when you have a large amount of impedance you will be having n number of generation of the voice and noise, and these noise will be a disturbance, and hence it could be desirable to include an amplifier which converts the high impedance input into low impedance output. Due to this conversion, the noise level will drastically reduce. So here you are transforming the high level of impedance output to the low impedance output, because always impedance value is associated with the noise range also. So in order to reduce the noise level in the impedance what you have achieved, you can also use the electronic amplifiers. So these are the main applications of using electronic amplifiers in case of any transducer or in any conversion of the devices. I'll just take the screenshot of the attendance. Just a second. If anyone have not written your name in the chat room, kindly do write it right away. Okay. Okay, so this is about our electronic amplifiers. So after you understand what you mean by electronic amplifiers, you should be knowing different types of amplifiers which are being used. So out of that, the first one is vacuum tube amplifier. So how does a vacuum tube amplifier circuit system works about? So you will be having an input and an output signal. Here you can see an cathode and anode arrangement, and you have an ether supply, right? You have a grid in between, and you have a load amplifier. You have your system to supply the required positive charge plate and also to supply the required bias voltage. So this is how the circuit of an vacuum tube amplifier looks like. So here you will be having an heater supply which heats the cathode plate so that it helps in discharging the required electrons. So these electrons will be attracted by the positive plate which acts as an anode, right? So in between you have a grid system which helps in controlling any variation in the cathode generation. So this will be controlled with the help of the biased voltage, so that you won't be having any variation in the amount of the positive charges passing through, because it can generate n number of cathode, and some amount of the positive charges could be some amount of cathode charges could be attracted towards the positive plate. There should be an uniform transformation of the electrical charges. So and hence this grid system plays a vital role in overcoming the variations and supplying a uniform amount of electrical current through the circuit. And along with this you have a plate supply and unbiased voltage. Okay, so before, let us just start out with the, I just explained you the circuit. Now we'll go in depth. So So what happens in vacuum tube amplifier? So the electrons emitted from the heated cathode will be attracted to positively charged plate, which was shown to you in the circuit already. So the flow of electrons is controlled by the grid, which is placed between the cathode and the plate, right, and is negatively charged relative to the cathode. The negative voltage at the grid is called as the bias voltage. So this negative electrons which pass through the grid, so the negative charges which are aligned across the grid will be called to be as our bias voltage. So any variation in the charge on the grid supplied by input signal controls the current flow in the plate circuit. So variations whatever you get due to the amount of amount of electrons generated, so that will be controlled by the grid system, so that you will be having the required amount of the charges across the plate without any variations. Okay, so then I told you already in the figure, C supplies the necessary bias voltage. So the bias voltage which is required will be supplied by the bias voltage which is named to be as C. Similarly, A, you have a unit which helps in supplying the required heat to the cathode. So that is called to be as our heater supply. And also along with this, so when the heat is being supplied to the cathode, so these voltages are drawn from a common supply using the voltage divider. So what do you mean by this? C supplies the necessary bias voltage and B provides the plate supply. The positive plate supply, which is the positive charge which is generated, which is required for the plate, is provided by the plate supply, which is called to be as B. The bias voltage which is needed is supplied by the bias voltage which is named to be as C, and the heat required to charge the cathode is supplied by the unit what we call it as A. So apart from this, in practice, these voltages are drawn from a common supply using voltage dividers. Along with this, the voltages are drawn from a common supply of voltage which will be received in from a common voltage supply, which will be called to be as our input voltage unit. Okay. So this illustrates this entire circuit is for single stage amplification. So if you get the required amplification of the voltage or the power, then this is enough. After even using one amplifier, so even though the required output level of the voltage is not good enough, then you should go for a next stage of amplifications. So number of stages required depending upon the level of amplification you need at the output signal. So based on that, the vacuum tube amplifiers can be connected in series to get the required amplification level. So this is how an vacuum tube amplifier works, which is one of the type of electronic amplifiers. There are other type of amplifiers as well. So in your syllabus you have one related to it, vacuum tube amplifiers. And then you should come to know what do you mean by telemetry. So what does the name suggest? Any guesses? So telemetry is the technique of measuring from a particular distance. So distance will be and constraint distance will be decided. So mainly it is used in the parts of missile and aircraft flight testing, and also sometimes in industrial, medical and transportation applications. But why it is being used? So it is used which helps in indicating the readings, or which indicating the reading means directly you can read the readings, or you can record, or you can integrate. So this telemetry acts like an terminating device or an output device. I told you the three stages. One is the detecting, second one is the modifying, and third is the output or device which has been connected. So first it will sense in the second it will modify as per converting the analogous signal into the digital, and in the third stage transducer helps in showing the output signal. So it could directly help you in reading the output signal, or else it helps in recording the output signal, or else it helps in transferring the output signal to some other device. For that, integration comes into picture. So these telemetry devices are used to measure the output signal from a particular distance, which can directly indicate you the reading, which can record the data output signal, or it can integrate to some other device. So this application is mainly used in case of missile in some part of it, or else even in aircraft flight testing sectors. So apart from that, telemetry systems require radio links which can permit use of readout devices located on the ground. Suppose at the ground level what you have the device and you require the radio links at a particular distance. In that case also the telemetry systems are very helpful. And apart from this, these are also used in industrial applications, medical and transportation applications as well. So this is the basic diagram how and telemetry works. So this is with respect to our three stages what I have told already. So which measuring quantity has to be measured will be sensed by the sensor whose application is mainly to detect the input signal. So this is the detector level which will sense, which is the first stage of the transducer. So this is the intermediate stage where the process takes place to convert the received input signal into the output signal. So here you have the intermediate stage. So what happens in case of intermediate stage? So this will receive the input signal and it will transmit to the channel. And once the data is transmitted to the channel, it will do the processing and it will be transferred to the receiver. So from the receiver it will be connected to the end device. So this is a general working of an telemetry system. So the function is it will convert the output of a primary detector into an analogous transmitted signal which can be transmitted over the telemetry channel. So the input signal what it receives will be converted to an output of a primary detector, so that the analogous signal, because you need to convert in the form of a signal to transmit into a telemetry channel, it should be in analogous way or else you cannot transmit it to the channel for the required output data. So and hence it helps in transmitting, converting the received primary detector output to the analogous transmitted signal. So that will be done by using the telemeter transmitter which transmits into the desired level of the signal which is in need. So the function of the telemeter receiver at the remote location is to convert the transmitted signal into an related suitable quantity. So whichever quantity is desirable related to that, the telemeter transmitter will convert so that it is readable by the telemeter channel. So once it is readable by the telemeter channel, it will process and convert the analogous signal into the digital signal. So that will be received by the telemeter receiver. So this entire conversion of the primary detector into analogous, from analogous into the digital, will be done in the intermediate stage. Once it has been done, then it will be connected to the end devices. So end device here could be an reader which indicates the reading directly. It could be an recorder which will record the output signal in the digital form, or it could be a transmitter which will transmit to an other device. For that, integration comes into the picture. So these are all the terminating devices which will be located at the end in order to get the required output in the readable way, in the recordable way, or in transmitting to the other devices as per the required application. So this is the function of the telemetry system and how does it works in general. So now you should understand what are its advantages and disadvantages. So basically, advantages of telemetry over recording of the data at the sources are, first of all, for the some capacity, weight of the telemetry equipment is less. So one of the advantage is the weight of the telemetry equipment unit, what you use for certain capacity in general, it is less. So wherever the requirement, the demand is huge for measuring the higher quantity, then the weight of the transducer equipment can increase. But usually in general, the weight of it will be considerably less. Second advantage is many channels may be individually and continuously monitored without the direct attention of the operator. So there is no human intervention between the operator to check whether it is working properly or not. So many channels at a time could be monitored, or it could be monitored individually also without the direct intervention or without the direct dedication attention of an operator. So it can work systematically without the human intervention in between. Third one is exceeding of safe limits may be immediately recognized and corrective measures can be taken. So every instrument works within its own limits. It will be having its own limits. So if we can see that it is exceeding its safe zone, so then that could be immediately recognized and corrected in the use of telemetry equipments, because you will be having a device in the ground and you will be checking the result within particular distance which is already constrained. So that distance should not vary and it should be within the limit, the equipments what you are measuring from a particular distance. If you feel like the distance has been varying from the safe zone, so that could be corrected immediately and it could be recognized also immediately. So that is one of the advantage. And next, in case of destructive failure, telemeter data gives a complete record up to the final moment. If you come across any failure also, telemeter data will give you a complete record up to the final moment it was correct, before it is becoming an failure. Very second behind that also it will give you the exact value which will be recorded. It is not like the previous data what you have recorded will entirely be an scrap because it became a failure all of a sudden. It is not the case. Until and unless it was failure, the previous data what you have measured will be recorded completely until the final moment it was declared to be failure. So this is important in case of missile testing when the test item may not be recoverable. So this is mainly applicable in testing the missiles, because the test, if it happens to be suddenly destructive, so the previous entire data could not be traced, yeah, recoverable. But if you use this kind of telemetry device until it was a failure, at least you will be having the data related to that.